I would say.
No. I might end up crying.
Oh, what about?
We're recording.
What are you saying?
I might end up crying. I don't know why.
Because you're John
It's all gone a bit
I'm
weird.
very sensitive.
It says I just got to spin it. Oh, there we go. We're definitely.
You've all been dead formal, so I'm changing my name.
Why did you have hot lover on?
Yeah, what did you have?
I just changed it. Come on. Because no, it wasn't. It's because
Liar, you've been chatting to someone.
no, it's because I've got Bob had put sexy doctors or something like that, so I put hot lover on.
Moist lover.
Sorry.
So this is the YouTube. Hello, YouTube.
Oh shit! Hi, YouTube. YouTube.
Right, he's a hot lover.
This is the way the conversation is going to go tonight, isn't it? Really, you can just tell. Oh yeah. So I just think
There we go. Right.
So I kick us off, so at least get started.
Hang on. Wait.
I might have to change my name again now. I have to change my name
Stimson.
again.
Mr.
Well,
Stimson.
that's
Sounds
because you're
like
all
a
being
dodgy
fun.
teacher, that.
That was a teacher, remember? Don't be like that.
Sounds like a dodgy shoemaker.
Yeah. Mr. Stimson, why are you watching us get changed again?
I don't know, but come and get closer.
Wow.
We're only 13.
Oh, this is all you on the YouTube, guys.
It's on YouTube.
I'm not getting involved. I'm not
That's my
getting involved.
DBS gone.
What
Yeah.
dick balls suck. That's the first thing that came to my head.
I can't
Ready to go when you are, Cliff.
Right. Ready? I'll do it. Just so sucky.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
All right, mate. Okay. And welcome to Around the Console. And you, I am Lord President of Galfrey. And you are Notorious Renegades. Those Notorious Renegades are John, Bob, Craig, and Sucky. Welcome to Around the Consoles.
You can't even say it, can you?
Wait,
Can't
where
fucking
you from?
say it.
Is it a different show we're reviewing?
I tried. That was with the help of John as well.
That was impressive, I have to say. That was a nice little speech.
It's very good though. Yeah, Gallifrey. Can you say it? Gallifrey?
Gallifrey.
There you go.
Gallifrey.
Gallifrey.
Did you say it was the help of John? Did you write it?
John written it. John written part of that.
Wow.
The quote.
That was fabulous, Cliff. Well done.
It was impressive.
Well, I'm not going to be like Sucky and just be on myself first.
I didn't
Even
even
though-
know. I got told off. I ain't done it since.
Or sleep. So we better go to Sucky first before he has a nap. Sucky,
You
what
know,
do you
so
think?
What did I think? Okay, I'll do. Yeah, it's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. It's nostalgic fair, and I just loved every second of it. So, yeah, absolutely fantastic. Go on, next one.
John, first time seeing it, is it? I
Yeah.
presume?
Yep, surprisingly good. It had lots of doctors in it and lots of companions and some crazy stuff and some gimp suits. So it was all pretty much everything. Ticked all my boxes, guys. All my boxes.
Definitely. Bob?
Well, I was a bit like, oh God, I've got to watch this again because I've seen this the most out of any Doctor Who ever. So I tried to mix it up a bit, and I've got a lot of stuff more celebrate. It's nothing to do with the episode particularly, just a lot of around the 20th anniversary, like Longley and stuff like that. And ended up reading some of John Nathan Turner's new book around the time, So it's what I really enjoyed was really looking deep into it. But not necessarily the episode itself, because it's amazing. I love it.
So what were you looking deep into? Because I've looked deep into several things.
Do you want to get closer to your microphone there, Craig? Just like I said, the whole celebration that went up to it, the season itself, because
elbow deep.
All monsters. Yeah, it's a bit too deep, isn't it? I'm going right now, but that's what I got from this. And also, I watched a commentary for the first time ever on DVD off the recommendation of Suki. I've never done it before, so I didn't watch all of it because it's just talking.
Which one did you watch?
I watched the one with Nicholas Courtney, Elizabeth Sladen on the original disc, and then I watched Peter Davison and Who was the person on the
Somebody
Peter
else.
Davison and
Yeah.
it was someone else in Terrence Dicks, so the writer. But I couldn't find the David Tennant one when he said he was about him getting drunk.
Yeah, it's on there. You just it's an Easter egg in it, so you have to go through the menus to search.
I've
for
never
it.
found it.
Oh,
Easter
why
egg.
did
Never
it
found
do
that.
them?
Because
Yeah.
they used to do it
Irish
used to be
shit.
the thing, wasn't it? Back in the day, you put a
Yeah.
little Easter egg which only the fans know about.
Yeah, but I'm a
Hey.
fan. I never found a single one of them.
I've
in
never
my
found
life.
one.
Yeah,
Craig.
but you are inept, Craig. So
I'm not
mean,
that inept.
I'd
but
deny
really.
We had jumped to Craig. Craig, what are your thoughts on it? Everyone's positive up to now.
I absolutely, truly love this. It's just exactly what Suki said. It's pure nostalgia. For me, it ticks all the boxes. It brings back memories of watching it first time round. It's got every doctor, loads of companions, got great baddies. It's actually got a really good storyline and covers everything from the kind of classic, sci-fi attack stuff to the political conspiracies. Truly, truly, truly love it.
And my view is more or less the same as everyone else's. That's it. Podcast done.
Oh, so
I
quick,
love
he said
it.
it's on. I'm going to
I
do
love
for a
it.
release.
I honestly, it is like similar to Bob. I had it on VHS and I'd played it and played it and played it because it was probably my first connection to people like Peter Davison and the early Doctors, because I'd seen this later on, because on the reruns and put it on a tape, and I'm like, oh wow, I need to watch some of that stuff. I need to try and get to that stuff, and I'm understanding the companions and working each one of them out. And not only that, you've got some of the best girls on there. So you've got Sarah Jane, who looked classy, stunning.
Oh no, sorry, that
Classy
purple coat
stunning.
and the perm and the makeup.
I thought she looked good, and then you got Tegan looking like a bit of a tart, but still nice.
She
Still
did
nice.
look good, actually. Yeah.
don't know what Tegan was wearing, but it was starting to give me fucking epilepsy or something. It was ridiculously.
It gave me a bit of
patterned.
epilepsy after 15 minutes.
Different sort of,
She
different
wearing?
sort of stroke, that is.
It's just like it was. She looked quite cool actually. She get away with that dress nowadays.
Was it the white boob tube? Was it that one? that she
No,
wears?
it was like just
No,
a
it's
sort
like
of.
Have you
an
not,
all
have
in
you not
one
watched
thing.
this
Patterny dress.
episode?
I watched this so long ago. I've got my notes, but I
Yeah.
honest to God watched it
There's,
months ago.
Tell you one thing that I can't remember what I was going to say. I got distracted and I'm very tired.
Did
It
you
was
get
very
distracted
important.
because Suki was showing the DVD to everybody?
Yeah.
Oh, this is for the YouTubers,
Mm.
So while you guys carry on yapping, I
mean,
can just go
it's-
like this.
Well, I
You have
suppose
to
it's
yap
better-
on a podcast.
I suppose it's better than you getting your knob out, isn't it?
Again. for the
Well, I'll
Yeah,
get my
it
knob
is.
out later. I mean, it doesn't have to be right now. Let
In for
people
a treat.
anticipate the
Foreplay is very important, Suki.
Yes, that's it.
I watched this episode about a month ago, so my
Yeah,
memory
me
of
too.
it isn't great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
honestly can't remember what she was wearing. I'm
Oh,
quite upset about it now.
We
As
are
a
that
first-
bad at scheduling.
Have you because it's your first time, John? Did you see the twist coming or not? Or was
What
was
twist?
it at the end?
About Barusa.
It was Barusa.
Oh, I guessed it was one of those two. I thought the fact that the Castellan got taken away early was like, nah, it must be the other fellow then. Because it was one of them two that was the baddie. I knew that.
It was a big
So
shock
when-
to me, I remember at the time.
Well,
I
mate,
remember being
I
time for
think,
me. It wasn't smart.
I think
I-
well, you guys might not have had the benefit of watching a shitload of Doctor Who that is like, as an adult, that I could see the things coming.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I would have missed it. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I think I was about 10 when I watched this, or 11. I don't know how old I was exactly, but it certainly went over my head. It probably did until last time I watched it, actually. It's quite
Good,
complex.
Good age.
The,
Craig.
the thing is, though, us fans, we've watched previous episodes with Barusa in, and Barusa's always been the good guy.
Yeah.
He's
No,
been
yeah.
the Doctor's ally. So we didn't, for us, most Doctor Who fans, we didn't see the twist coming where Barusa would be the bad guy. It should have been the Castellan that
Yeah.
got took away, or the Master.
Castellan. Yeah.
Castellan, sorry.
Can we get pronunciations right? What with Galfrey and Castellan?
Well,
Castellan.
with the cast, the master was meant to be the baddie, but then Terence Dicks thought that was too obvious.
Yeah.
And that's why he made it this bit of a little sort of political thriller off spin. or
Well,
whatever.
it's the lure of power, isn't it? Even the
Yeah.
most powerful will have something that they can
Yeah.
perhaps want to try and attain, and that is it Rassilon.
Yeah.
The Rassilon thing is that the ring and everything like that is classic fantasy.
You see, I loved
Genre
that as a
stuff
kid
as well.
when I watched it. The fact that actually you thought he was going to get what he wanted, which was immortality. And then when he actually becomes
He
just
did.
cast,
It's
I
like
just
It's
loved
like
it.
it's a twist of it, like a riddle.
That-
twist.
I re-
it's
I-
like
That's
it's like the genie, give him a
Yeah.
one hand, take it. It's the monkey paw, isn't it?
It is,
yeah.
The so what I do like about it is you can tell it's written by, well, I couldn't at the time, but written by Terrence Dicks.
Was it not originally written by
Robert Holmes? No, he was
No,
meant
no.
to do it, but he kept arguing a lot with. I think the original idea was that's why it's called the Six Doctors. Is that where William Hartnell is going to be called Doctor, or William Hartnell's Doctor First.
Oh, it was
Doctor
going to be an android or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, Doctor
yeah.
Will, and then it was like no. So Robert Holmes just basically went. They got Terrence
What?
Dicks in.
I've never heard that before. Was that the
Yeah,
initial plan?
Yeah.
It was meant to be the Six Doctors and then this android and all that. So look at John knowing more than you, Craig.
Oh, it's not difficult, really.
But what I do like is it's very concise and lots of little peril all the way through to keep you going. It's
They had enough antagonists to make it interesting all the way through. So
yeah,
when
because
he's
it's a lot,
travelling,
isn't there? There's a
switch to
lot.
Another one. Yeah.
There's a lot, and the pacing's bang on for me.
Yeah.
And when you've got such a big cast and everyone gets their bit, and it's nice as well because it's the 20th, so you only get like a minute or 30 seconds of Liz Shaw and Captain
love
Yates,
that.
and then Zoe and Jamie and all that, and then you've got the other cast. They get their own screen time, don't they? And they're quite like the way it's done, written and paced. And it's good that Tom Baker didn't do it because if you'd had him as well,
Well, God, the amount of
He
ego
might have
on
tried
that
old
fucking
show,
screen
yeah,
was already
yeah.
vast, wasn't it?
You see-
exactly,
So
for
many
me-
lovies in the same space.
yeah.
See, I
It
didn't
would-
know about Shader, so I didn't know that wasn't
Harder.
Dada.
Shader. Sorry, I didn't know. I
Hey,
don't.
Josh.
I'm gonna go. No, no.
You can tell Craig's from Salford as well. Come on.
Hey, come on, stand together. Yeah, it was kind of like for me that was all new material. I'd not known about the episode.
Well, yeah, you
so I'd never seen it.
Yeah,
so
never
exactly.
seen it before.
So
yeah.
now I look at it in a different way, but at the time it was just all bonus extra.
Well, I
again.
thought
It was great.
at the time when I watched it, because I watched this, I didn't watch it on transmission. My cousin Stephen taped it off the telly when it was on Children in Need, and it was the first pirate I did with him. It was this one, so that's why I watched it the most. And it must have been when I was 83, wasn't it? 4, yes, so I was 4 years old. I remember it clear as day. The Terry Wogan bit and all that I had on it. Yeah,
I would have been 11.
I would have
You'd
been
been
11.
11?
I'd been 12.
yeah.
See, my clear memory of this is I was waiting. I was so excited about it coming on. I'd even bought from Tesco, the silver book that they released, the storybook by Terrence Dicks. I'd like
Which came out a week early. A week
Yeah, it
early.
did.
early.
So I'd actually
Yeah.
started reading it. And I remember that just my family had this clever trick of telling me that I was the best cup of tea maker in the world. And because I was pretty simple and naive, I truly believed it. So whenever they actually asked me to make a cup of tea, I wanted to show off and shine. Good training, really.
Jeez.
And literally about 1 minute before Doctor Who came on, they said, before it starts, make us a cup of tea because you're really good at it. So I went into the kitchen and I heard it start. I have never legged it back. And I missed the opening scene.
You're going to
so I
see
never
Mr. Hartnell bit.
Yeah, I missed the Hartnell bit, and I also remember it clear as day. Don't remember the rest until I
Well,
watched it.
because it was
Yeah,
on
go on.
during Children in Need.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and so I'd already bought the Radio Times special that came out, and it had all the pictures in it, all the companions, all the list of stories, and I was pumped up, ready, excited. And then Children in Need was on, and because it was being shown as the showpiece event on that night, was this 90-minute story. Terry Wogan introduced it, but then as I'm watching it, because I'm really into the show, but there was like messages going across the screen as well, so I was being distracted.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So when it came back, when they showed it again, I think as a 4-parter the following year
Did
or the year after, I can't remember what. Quite soon after, that's when I properly watched it again properly. Because I didn't have a video recording in them days.
No,
But I just,
Oh, there
it's
was
just
the-
the fact that I was
the-
being
I mean,
distracted all the
very
way.
expensive.
Proper child in need, weren't you, Suki?
Yeah.
Okay, when you brought back the 4-parter, is that when they extended it the extra 10 minutes? Because I
No.
saw the
No,
original
that was
one,
the special edition VHS that they did.
Oh, did
of
they?
it.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
which then
what were the
they
extra
did
bits then? Because I've seen
There's
so
a
many
lot
versions
of
of
it.
it now.
To be honest, the pacing is worse because they just lengthen scenes and it's about
Right.
10 minutes longer.
Right.
And
I've
it's
not seen that one.
Yeah,
No,
that's
I
what
don't
it's,
see that one.
it's it's the special edition. So it's basically it tells you in the info text as you go in what they've done, and it's just basically they've extended scenes a bit really, and I felt the pacing was not as good as the original. They've changed the effects slightly, so you don't get the black triangle, you get this swirly thing, but nothing to write home about. Do you know what I mean?
Quite like the
yeah.
black triangle, though.
I thought it was
Yeah,
good.
I like the
love
black triangle as
triangle,
well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It had very much that kind of, for me, it was like The Prisoner, in Port Merion, when it was a ball, wasn't it? Then
Yeah,
he'd come down and get people. It reminded me of that, but obviously the Doctor Who's sort of
It
superior.
was Superman for me.
Superman. Yes, that's where
Yeah.
that's what reminded me of.
Yeah, the traps like that.
Also, Richard Herndl was. I thought he was the first Doctor. I never had any experience with William Hartnell.
Same,
when I was four.
because it was the first time I'd seen.
I had to check
No.
to make sure it wasn't him.
He's great, isn't he?
Yeah,
If you think
he's
about it
really good.
realistically, he would have been way too old for that at that point. If not, if
I'm
indeed
dead.
alive.
Died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I struggle with standing doctors, I must admit.
But I think he's really good.
He is really good, a bit like whatever he is that plays it, David, whatever, in the new
Matt
stuff.
Smith's one, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's really good too, but I had come across William Hartnell, when they did the Five Faces of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Five Faces of Doctor Who.
So that's the only time I'd seen a Hartnell.
I'm
And
going to put it out there that he's my favourite first Doctor, Richard Herndl, and I'm doing that.
You do it.
Well,
Well,
I know. I just don't think he has the voice, though. That's the
No,
only
he
thing I
doesn't,
get.
yeah.
That's it.
yeah.
I think he's
Well,
great. Sorry, John, go on.
No, it's Susan that I'm like she must have been in her middle age, and she's calling this fella granddad. He can't be more than 10 years older than her.
Well, there's a lovely thing with Caroline Ford when she's talking about. So when they're on the moor and he's sat down on this rock and she sees him from behind,
Yeah.
she literally just gets this whole thing. It just was like Bill Hartnell, and it's just the way she talks about him and doing the special is just beautiful, because she was very close with Bill Hartnell.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people were, but she was, and it was just lovely. She just forgot herself for a moment and thought it was him, and that's quite nice,
I mean, likewise as well. I think Elizabeth Sladen meeting back up again with number 3.
Yeah, Pertwee. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty nice as well. You can get.
Pertwee did a good job on it as well.
Yeah.
It's good.
And
Really
the
good.
whatchamacallit, Lethbridge
Trower.
Stewart.
No, Nicholas Cartney's all.
Yeah, and meeting back up with them is all nice and all that nice stuff. I've got a question about Jamie and Zoe's
Yes.
little. I can't remember where they left off, but how would they have been there?
That's the point.
They wouldn't have been.
Yeah. So there's two things to do with the war games. One is the fact that he remembers they've lost the memory, so he wouldn't know, that kind of thing. Although I just thought about this now, how would he know they've lost the memory? Because he immediately regenerated to John Pertwee.
Was he there when they did it?
So at this point, point, go on, Tucky.
There is
the sage has come with an answer.
There is that complete fan theory that there is a season 6B, which explains Jamie being quite old in the Two Doctors, where the second Doctor has not actually been straight after his trial. He's then gone and picked up Jamie again when he's a lot older, and then he's had the Two Doctors adventures, and he's working on behalf of the Time Lords for certain things, missions that they keep sending him on. So there's a whole complete fan theory that he would have known exactly what happened in the war games. So you've sort of explained in the.
You've got to love super fans tying themselves in knots to say.
I'm just thinking exactly that. I was just listening, thinking, "Oh my god, there's a theory about everything. Why have they even come up with this?"
Yeah, I mean, it just you can see that they just stuck it in there just for it was the special.
The
The
other war games reference is the colonel at the beginning who's talking to the brigadier who was cast Oves in war games.
Yeah.
If you remember, we watched that. It is class, and I thought it was quite. I was like, do you know? I didn't even realize until I watched this time that was him. I've always thought I recognise him from something. It's from the war games, so yeah, that was quite nice. And also the HQ outside was from the Three Doctors of the. I like little nods like this.
You do get. I got the feeling that I think maybe, and this is really stretching my Doctor Who knowledge, but Terence Dix wrote a lot for number 3, didn't he?
Was it 4?
I get novels of it.
Well, Terence, you could as a script editor, you couldn't officially write a script, but he would have done a lot of rewrites on Pertwee stuff. But he did write for Tom Baker, and he wrote for Patrick Troughton as well. He part wrote the war games, didn't he?
I think though, I was thinking he kind of favours. I mean, number 3 got the best.
Well, he was his script editor,
lines,
so
he got the best of the. He got
5
to play
years
around
with-
with this silly fucking car.
Yeah, he had to. I mean, Bessie had
He's
to be in it.
stuff
K9
like
that,
had to be in it. A
Yeah.
Dalek had to be in it. Simon had to be in
Yeah.
it. The Yeti, that was quite a.
The
was-
Dalek
I
is
like
the-
that.
Dalek
Because
is the worst.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was,
but I like the arrival of the Dalek when you got the shadow come around the corner. But other than that, the rest was pretty lame, just running around the corridor.
well, and also because you don't know where you are yet, do you? And when it looks
No.
like it's Scarrow, that's even.
Yeah.
It's kind of like quite a scary thing. to
Is
see
that
some
more
of the time.
scary?
The sort of mirror?
God.
Oh wow!
That was impressive.
Stops the conversation dead there, John. Well done.
Can I say
Anyway, Doctor Who.
one of my favorite moments in the entire thing is when Sarah Jane Smith falls down the hill with that pathetic little scream, and the hill's
Oh, it's
probably no big.
always.
I
yeah.
love it. I absolutely howl every time. and I
That's the
truly love it.
definitely the doctor's, not the doctor's, the director's fault. That is.
Oh yeah,
because
yeah.
I think it was written that he falls down a cliff.
Yeah.
Into the bottom of a cliff, not a bloody slight slope, but you can literally, literally the doctor should have just walked down there and said, "Yeah, love, get up."
But the thing is, you've got to give it to Elizabeth Sladen because she
Doing
plays it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
know, with-
Yeah.
Great.
That's
Conviction.
Her job.
Yeah.
But the director should have really tried a bit hard on that. I mean, it
I
wasn't
think
even
Just
it
tilted
was-
the camera slightly, maybe
Yeah.
even.
No,
But it's the
just
sound as
not
well. It's,
done
like,
it on a
oh, yeah, it's everything about it. It just makes me laugh every time. It's
The way it
genius.
was written, maybe you could clear this up for me. But number one, when it's like a children in need stuff, and they do these specials, it very rarely pays off. It's usually quite shit, or it's a little bit funny, and that's it. Well, this is like so
It's-
good in
yeah.
itself that they
Oh,
can
God,
use
yeah,
it again and again. It's not just a little crappy thing. But
No.
when they put it together, maybe you know this more, Suki, with the back stuff, was did they go, right, who's in it? What can we do? Let's write. Or did they write it beforehand and then have to write Tom Baker out of it?
Yeah, it was written
Yeah.
before.
Oh.
It was written beforehand, and then Tom Baker pulled out because he'd agreed to do it. And then he pulled out, so there was rewrites having to be done there. And then it's just a case of which companions could turn up on the studio day to fill in for these little bits that they had, nostalgic bits of these companions coming back, like Richard Franklin and
Yeah.
Wendy Padbridge.
Well,
Fraser
that's
Hines and
and
all
that's
that.
why Nicholas Courtney got in as well because Tom Baker pulled out, so you had to bring someone else in. So
I think it was-
the Peter Davison bit that was going to be
I
Tom
think-
Baker, which would have been
Oh,
shit
right.
because Peter Davison was the Doctor,
yeah.
so he'd have taken a backseat just for Tom Baker.
Oh,
so
no,
it's like I said, it's
No,
worked
no.
out well that he
It
just
worked
got
out much better.
put
then.
aside.
yeah.
Peter Davison was the Doctor, and Nicholas Courtney got brought in to go with Patrick Troughton. For me, I think it. better.
I think they dealt with the fact that he wasn't there quite well, and using that extra footage.
Oh yeah.
That was clever.
Very cleverly done.
Yeah. Except the end bit when they go, oh, is he going to bring him back? And then all of a sudden, it's just like he's on the floor and he's outside.
Well,
the TARDIS.
that's changed in the special edition as well. So it
Oh, is
just
it?
goes back to them punting. So there's basically
Yeah,
top-
I did-
That'll be a
didn't
better
see that.
view. That'll be a
Yeah.
better one. That'll
Yeah.
fit right then. Yeah.
But I
Gotcha.
missed the bit where he's on the floor
I didn't
underneath
see- I
that
didn't see
gate. Yeah.
What they did with the companions, obviously it's been made and written maybe to just show off the Doctors and a few of the famous companions. The newer companions at the time more or less took a back seat for the older ones to do a lot of the running around, a lot of the work, like a more or less a calling card. Because Tegan was in it, but Visor, he wasn't hardly in it.
Turner.
Yeah,
Turner.
yeah.
What did you call him?
Turner.
Visor.
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 Vizsla
Vizsla.
Turner.
Oh,
Yeah.
Vizsla
Vizsla
Turner.
Turner.
Vizsla.
Oh, is that okay? Right.
Yeah, but he was just more or less left in the background.
Yeah. He was really.
And you had to leave someone in, and he was new about as well. And I thought Tegan and the first Doctor worked very well together.
I
thought
did
they
actually.
were
and the-
quite, yeah, because it was kind of like it was a bit like Twice Upon a Time or whatever it is with
Yes.
the old fashioned Doctor coming into the modern era, and that's definitely what it was. And
Yeah.
she was a feminist or whatever. She wouldn't go and make the tea and all that kind of stuff, or didn't want to. And I loved all that, and the fact it was in the 80s as well. It's quite
It
nice.
was all still quite cutting edge in the 80s, wasn't it? It was a direct,
yeah.
I like I didn't like the fact that you brought Susan in to probably pair up with the first Doctor, but then she got sidelined with her little trip that she had, and then she got sidelined and put to one side. So then
You should
Tegan
trip
had
all
to
the
take-
time in the
No, I don't think she tripped all the time. I
It's-
think it was just in the final episode that she had a bit of a trip, but then because it's sort of become like another fan myth, where she used to always have accidents and stuff like that, even though she only did maybe
I did
once
think
or
it a little bit odd that she meets the Fifth Doctor and there's no like
No,
loving
agree.
touch with it. It's sort of like, oh, are you Sue? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where
Because
have
you
you
would think
been?
being granddaughters,
Yeah.
they'd all want to be like, yeah, catching up, but no, they don't, do they?
Where have you
It's all
been?
very
Love? You know what I
restrained.
mean, nothing really. Yeah,
yeah,
And,
and
the,
a
and
bit
the
of a misstep,
goodbyes
that
are
was.
all very kind of like, see ya,
a
bye.
little bit cordial. Yeah, all
Yeah.
right. See ya. Go back
Yeah.
to your town.
But I don't know, Troughton and
Pertwee.
we didn't particularly. Well,
Yeah.
no, they probably got on, but their characters didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently that's why they all didn't come to. That was another reason for keeping all apart was the ego thing. They didn't want them all together
God,
until the
yeah.
very end. But apparently it was fine. They all just got on and it was all right. They were just actors doing a job. But
Yeah.
apparently John Pertwee would go home and go, "I was the best."
I can you imagine he would do,
Of
actually.
course he
yeah.
would do. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like that, yeah.
They did use one of my favorite lines, which I forgot that it was from this, where it's you've had this room decorated, haven't you? I don't like it. Which again, Matt Smith used it a few.
Oh, I
I
thought he said,
no.
ah,
It's from the Three
No.
Doctors as well, isn't it?
that's
from
from
the
Three
Three
Doctors, yeah.
Yeah.
But but then
Yeah,
that was the
it-
first, then this, and Matt Smith
Yeah,
used it later
Yeah.
on. Oh wow!
And then there's
It's
a
like-
companion said it as well, didn't they, later on? They get a companion
Yeah.
to say it.
yeah.
It's like reverse polarity, the neutron flow kind of thing.
Yeah.
Pertwee actually said the full thing twice.
Yeah, he did.
But then it's always sort of, and it's hat tip to as you go along, you know.
Yeah.
He said half of it quite a lot, reverse
Yeah.
polarity or whatever, but he never said that. He only said the full thing twice. But that's a man.
Super nerd level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh yeah, and that's why I've particularly loved going through all the celebrations of that year and looking at stuff I've not before. I don't remember the celebrations extra on the DVD, which was about Longleat. Now, Longleat, was any of you like Longleat?
No.
If you weren't there, man. So this was like just for you, John, probably, or maybe Cliff as well. I don't know, but there was a convention or celebration put on in the before the special in this 20-year anniversary, and it was free, so you could go free, and there was loads of Doctor Who actors and companions there. It was like the Woodstock for geeks, right? So they gave away, I think it was like 13,500 tickets, but they said just turn up, thinking no one would turn up. Anyway, Longleat was closed down. There was 35,000 people on the first day and the same on the second day, and the queues were for hours, 5 hours of just Doctor Who fans and all this, and it was just mental. But everyone was just queuing very patiently.
I could virtually smell it.
And there was like the thing is, so many cool things were created, like fan fiction, all these kind of stuff, just in the queue. And
Yeah.
Peter Davison, bless him, because he was worried that no one would turn up, and that was a reflection on him being the Doctor as well. But when they all turned up, he was obviously buzzing, going, "Fucking yeah, it's still good." But he actually walked down the queue. So when they were queuing, he came off one of his I don't know what you call them, conferences or whatever, but walked down the queue for an hour and a half. I mean, imagine being a Doctor Who fan there, the actual Doctor's walking past you in his costume. But it was just the most insane thing that's possible. It's like Doctor Who history. You know, it was massive at the time. And I was only 4, so I was never going to stand a chance of going. But I think
Is there any recordings of that?
Oh, there's loads.
oh yeah, there's loads
loads.
of videos and stuff like
Try
that.
and find them on YouTube. It'll be good.
But
to
it
see
closed it down. Like Mark Strickson, he was about 4 hours late, wasn't he? Because the
Yeah.
traffic, he couldn't get in. So yeah, imagine doing that now. It's free. Just turn up, and that's what they did without all social media and all that nonsense. They just
Oh,
said
they think Woodstock was famous. This is the one. This is,
yeah, this is the one for the Doctor Who fans,
True
man.
fan.
You were there, and that element of it. And also reading John Nathan Turner's book, it's his sort of diary and what he had going on at the time. It's so funny. He's absolutely spinning all sorts of plates. He's writing to these people, phone calling Tom Baker, speaking, writing to Caroline John, all this stuff, all this madness is going on. He is brilliant at it. He's just, he brought all this together, and all the stuff that he did when you read in his diary, just to keep this show running, unreal. And if he gets a lot of grief, or did get a lot of grief, he's a bit Marmite, isn't he, John Nathan Turner, for what he did to Doctor Who. In my opinion, it was very positive. But it's just fascinating seeing how all this came together for this 20th anniversary season special as well, because there's awesome stories with all monsters and villains coming back, and I just that's the element I found fascinating, and also listening to a commentary as well while watching it with the info text on. And that was cool. Just remembering that this was huge, and that's what and all this year was huge. Not just the 5 Doctors, and the fact this book came out before. Imagine finding a book to the next Jodie Whittaker episode a week before. Yeah. I've read it, but people didn't. People really good.
Some people would burn it.
No.
Or some people will burn it. But it's kind of like that, but more, but bigger. So it's that's
what was it like at the time with regards to Tom Baker's just left, Pete's just had his first season, and this was just onto the second season, was it?
Yeah.
What was the ratings like at that time? I hadn't checked.
They're quite healthy.
They're really good. Yeah, they were good.
I
after this, did this give it another boost up then? Seeing all this, like some of the old fans might have come back watching it after this.
I have to say, I must have watched it because I was watching Doctor Who at that age. I remember the Peter Davison series. I don't remember any specifics. And also Children in Need, I would have been watching that as well. So I guess I must have seen this before.
Because a lot of people watched it because there's only the few channels, wasn't there? So it took over completely one of the major channels for the night. So you kind of did tune into it really, no matter what. A lot of people.
Yeah, Children in Need got something like
massive
million viewers, maybe even more at the time. Yeah.
I had forgotten about the Radio Time special till you mentioned it, Suki. That's just genius. I remember that dead clearly now.
God, there's a clip of this excited me the most. This has been the best thing for me about watching it. There's a clip of them on Nationwide, Peter Davidson, Janet Phelan, and Mark Strickson, with Mike Reed, I think. Not sure if he was one or not, but anyway, he looked a bit like one. And anyway, they've got all these goodies they're giving away, and they have the TARDIS Wendy house, which is the best present I've ever received in my entire life. Which was basically a Wendy house, like a little TARDIS, and it's there, and Mark Strickson gets in it.
Wow, I handmade you a cherry bench for your outside, and that's...
Did I say best present ever? Second.
At the time, Bob, at the time.
Well, I remember I was a kid, my mum said, go look upstairs behind your door, and I ran upstairs, and I found this. I'll remember it till the day I die, and then every present after that, if it wasn't a TARDIS Wendy house, I was gutted. Till I'm still now. So if anyone leaves a present behind a door, it's not a TARDIS Wendy house, I will be a little bit disappointed. However, being older, I can actually manage my emotions and lie a bit and go, oh, thanks. Whereas as a child, you cannot. So that was quite a little special thing about doing this as well.
The 20th anniversary for me, it sort of creeped up on me. The only way I realised something was happening was seeing that Radio Time special.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's W.A. Smith or in one of these shops at a local newsagent, and it was there, and it had loads of pictures in there, and it's fantastic.
Didn't buy it, you just looked through it.
I'd look through it. It took me ages to get the money to be able to. I don't nick it. It took me ages to actually buy a copy, and then when I bought the copy, I've got it's knackered in the other room because it's frayed and it's a bit torn and a bit tattered because I've looked through it all the while.
I still have that upstairs somewhere in the loft. I totally forgot all about it, but God, I did cherish that. And you're right. That's the only reason I knew. I was too young to kind of get the whole celebration stuff, but seeing that on a shelf and actually reading it, and it was a bit like when they did that, the 3 Doctor special in the Radio Times, whatever it was. And it kind of brought all that back. I was too young for that, but you could see it.
Like now, it's all just there, isn't it, on the internet?
All there,
just to spoon feed you. But this is what made albums, film, whatever, a lot more
because
special.
It was finding it. It was this journey to try and find it, and who had it,
and you had to buy it.
Oh God, yeah,
you bought it, so you had to read it. You had to listen to it. Well, obviously in Salford, so you probably tried to steal it, Chris, obviously. But it's just that's what makes it special and more unique, and that's probably why Longleat happened.
You made friends, you made groups more. Yeah. In like real life groups, not like have you got this type of thing?
Yeah, that's a cult, guys. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Describing there as a cult. Yeah.
Longleat is the start of so many people's professions as well. In that you find there's quite a few superfans met up there and they started their careers. I mean, I think Gary Russell was in there, Paul Cornell. There was loads of these people that we all know as people that have gone on to work within the profession and on Doctor Who, and they all, quite a few of them, all turned up, and they all have these stories of standing in the queue and seeing the doctors, or being a bit crowded, or just in the queue getting to Longleat 5 hours or 6 hours. And this BBC Enterprise just didn't know the worth of Doctor Who at the time. They just thought, kids show, we'll just give out free tickets.
Free.
About 200, 300, maybe 1,000 people might turn up. But when you have, as Bob says, 35,000 on both days, right? They just didn't realise what.
And,
I mean, it also didn't help with the weather neither, because it was just looks like a mud pit there.
It does, and also John Nathan Turner was an absolute king of advertising their show. He'd do things that people would never even heard of. Like Pete Davidson says, he thought it was normal that a leading man would, because he was quite new. It was his first leading man job. That sounds quite rude. But anyway, he went off and did his, all these things to publicise the show, and he's never done it since. It was only because John Nathan Turner he was a step ahead of people with that kind of thing, getting people out there promoting the show, and that's why it lasted, hung on for as long as
it's quite
it
hard
did.
to imagine that 5 years or so after this, he cancelled it. After having all it's almost like a real kind of what happened in that time, still under JNT.
I think you need those pockets of bursts of energy, and John Nathan Turner gave it at that time at the right time.
Oh yeah,
and then it disappeared, and then your RTD came back and he gave it a massive burst of energy, regardless of what people think, whether it was over camp or whatever. It worked. It brought the crowd back, and everyone got excited again. So there's peaks and troughs with Doctor Who, isn't it?
Yeah,
you've got to find out what your audience is, and I think John at the time would have been young enough, dynamic enough to be out there, more or less moved away from the old BBC, old boardroom guys of who knows what.
Yeah, well, JNT was law unto himself most of the time in that the way he promotes stuff. I mean, the other thing that he did at the time was he actually premiered the episode in America first, and he got all these people to go, all the actors to go over to this big Chicago convention, and they were all there, and the episode was premiered in the States there. And so people got to see 2 days or 3 days before it was shown in the UK.
And they used to get paid a lot of money for the American conventions. You didn't get anything over here. Like now it's just a gold mine, isn't it? Where in America they did it properly. They do conventions and charge and pay people and
put them up overnight and all that.
And bear in mind, Doctor Who was a relatively small show in America, and it hadn't even got to Peter Davidson by this point in America. It was still on Tom Baker episodes as well. So America is such a vast place. You can have a tiny, in the grand scheme of things, a tiny section of the population being Doctor Who fans, and it's still paying money.
And Tom Baker turned up in Chicago. He didn't turn up for the production of this, but he actually turned up in Chicago.
He turned up at Longleat. Longleat as well.
Oh, he was at Longleat as well. Yes, he was there.
So what was it then? Why did he not want to do it? Is it because he just finished and he just had enough of it?
I thought it was an ego thing that he said no one else would take on his role. That's what I always remember hearing as a kid. Whether that's just Doctor Who fan myth, I have no idea.
I think, to be honest, I think it was just
too close.
Too close. I think he was too close, and he just was trying. I think for him as well, he was quite upset and angry about leaving Doctor Who because it made him, and he loved it and all that kind of thing. And I think it's just too raw and too soon after the event.
Now
Never go back, guys.
Yeah,
it's turned it round now though, hasn't it? Because he loves the convention thing.
He does.
He was in the special. You know what I mean? Whose room if he's going to be anything else as well? He's done all the. It is money at the end of the day.
Exactly.
It's silly not to jump in on it. Sort of like Chris Eccleston didn't like it, did he? And then come back.
But he had a bitter thing as well, didn't he? Eccleston left bitterly. Baker left bitterly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's a job at the end of the day. One thing I must say though, the music in it.
Music's great.
It's probably the one off the time which doesn't overuse the synths. It's really 70s. You got a bit of funk in there, very early 80s. I thought it was great. Really good.
That sound effect when they show the dark tower, it's the tower, and you got that kind of horn that comes out. I love
There's
that.
bits in it where if I wasn't looking at Doctor Who, I could have swore it was. Do you remember the old film, The Warriors, from the late 70s, early 80s, set in New York? There's bits in that, and the music in it is very similar to that. I thought it was amazing. I like all that 70s funky stuff.
The only time I made particular note of the music on my notes was there's the bit where Rassilon is and like the president fella is trying to put the ring on and all that shit.
Yeah.
There's a really kind of pipe organ-y sort of noise going on that's like haunting. Really
Oh
effectively
yeah,
done.
yeah.
I'm not
Yeah, I
sure
know.
what the instrument is, but it's like a shawm or something like that. It's just a weird, and it's like, yeah, that perfectly fits the eeriness of the situation. So
I like the horn as well. When the Dark Tower appears, there.
Yeah.
it's not what you're
And
thinking, Craig.
Someone says horn, my mind goes elsewhere.
I think in general, look, production, everything's cool, and the sort of simplest little puzzles as well. You know,
Yeah.
like the floor, it's as easy as pie.
Oh,
and,
that
you know,
was
kind of
terrible.
thing.
Actually, that was terrible.
But like before, below, above
Yeah.
and whatever. I like that. It's quite a simple thing, but
It
it
is
worked
I
really well.
wasn't sure about zip lining. That seemed a little bit.
Yeah.
What I didn't understand though is with as simple as pi, it changed every time. What pi,
Yeah.
pi is a mathematical form, so it wouldn't actually change. But every time they got on it, they changed the way they leapt across, and I didn't understand that at all. How did the master know?
the actors? Well, the actors, they just sort of improvised, and I think from what I've read, Richard Hurndall didn't bother. That's why he walked straight across the
Right.
board. Right, he didn't do any of these skipping around that Anthony Ainley did. Right, and then Richard Hurndall either forgot, didn't want to do it, or
He got the
walked straight across.
He also got the mathematical equation wrong, so he had to come back and re-record the actual true answer and stuff like that.
Right.
But
Because even when the eight and then does it, he doesn't do the same thing twice, does he? Which again, as a mathematical formula would do. I just found that I didn't make a note of that.
But there is that, and also I tell you what, it reminds me a lot of Death to the Daleks. You know that
yes.
when they're in the
tests.
and that's particularly one of it. And because I watched this close to the time of Revenge of the Cybermen, Seas of Death, and Death to the Daleks, because they were the first videos I ever owned. You know, I kind of thought this was in Doctor Who every week. That kind of like puzzle board and all that sort of stuff.
I must think as well is the deaths of the Cybermen. They were brutal. They were really cleverly done as well.
Yeah.
Did
From
one of
the
them hurry
robot.
up?
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, blow up and all sorts.
Yeah,
See,
puked up in his
With
helmet.
that like silver ninja robot jumping.
The
all over
Raftan
place.
Warrior.
Yeah.
I love the Raftan Warrior. I absolutely love
Has
it.
it
as a
ever been in
kid.
it again?
No, I have to.
That's a great character.
I'd have to be critical of it a little bit. It did look fucking stupid. However, that silver face mask, really good idea, and that's been utilized by a bunch of sci-fi in the future.
Yeah.
It kind of makes it enigmatic, and you don't know what it's
Tricky,
thinking.
yeah.
However, the lycra and the jumping about like a spanner really did ruin it a little bit.
See, but as a kid, I was totally in awe because I didn't realize it was obviously a bodysuit with a head on top.
I found it
just-
incredibly tense as well. The whole
God,
thing
as a
of
child, you were
if you-
stupid. Craig.
if you moved. I found it incredibly tense though, like because if you moved, you know, it got you and all that. It was cool.
And
There's-
Yeah.
Sorry.
we're talking about JNT being a master of many things, right? He directed all them sequences of the song.
He did, and they're very good.
Because it was so behind
Oh, I
schedule.
didn't know
Yeah.
that.
So this is a
There's a
producer
great,
having to step
there's a
in.
great shot after the robots fighting them. There's a great shot afterwards where there's a Cyberman walking away and he's got a pole stuck in his stomach. He's just walking away. Like he's not fully dead. He can still carry it on with this pole sticking out from him.
Craig knows how that feels.
Sometimes you've got to maneuver the pole inside.
Peter Moffat, the director, though, is hilarious because he's done a lot of Doctor Who, and they're all very. He's a solid, steady pair of hands, but he has no clue on the technical side of stuff, and he's so blasé about it. It's hilarious. He's an actor's director, if you know what I mean, and he's like, "So them guys over there, they're going to do some blowy up things. Don't worry about it. It's fine," and all this sort of stuff. So obviously, when J&T gets a bite at the directing tree, he does a great job. And Peter Moffat was like, "It's very good. It's probably better than what I'd have done." So it's great. He don't give a fuck. It's amazing.
All in all, though, there must have been time constraint to use all those actors.
Oh,
They must have been just using them for little segments or just getting in over a couple of days' work.
No, they all. So anyway, everyone went. So they did Wales first for all the Ivor Ryan.
Oh, so it was in Wales. I thought it was
Ivor Ryan's
Yorkshire
Wales.
Moors or something.
Dark Towers in Wales. So they did all the location filming first. in a matter of days. But they were going in, coming back, to London. JNT was there for most of it. I think he arrived a bit late because he was in America, and then it went to studio, and there was about 3 days of 3 or 4 days of studio film. It wasn't that long a process as you think.
See,
Wow.
and also if you think about it, Terrence Dicks was told maybe to keep the doctors apart because of ego, the actors' egos, maybe. But if this is the time where they're probably all bonded as well. Now, if it had known how close they would have all got, because Patrick Troughton and John Pertwee, they sort of had a double act when they used to go to the conventions in the later years.
See,
If they'd known how close they were, right, he would have probably put them paired together a lot more and just, maybe
Yeah, that would have been seen to see
See-
people bounce off each other
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
see, that's a little bit disingenuous of him because, like, they're professional actors. You don't pick them based on whether they'll be upset with somebody else because on the screen you
Yeah,
cannot
you just
tell
read the
because they're
lines.
good at their
aren't you?
jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're good at their jobs. They know how to act, and so you never pick up on that. That must have only have been just for like managing the shit going down in the background, maybe.
Well, there's actually footage on the extras on the special edition of them literally filming all, pretty much a massive chunk of it. So the cues and coming in, them interacting with each other in between scenes. It's fine.
Didn't you have a photo
Absolutely
with
fine.
Madame Two
wax.
Swords?
Yeah,
Yes.
with Tom Baker. Yeah, that was
Tom
a
Baker.
publicity stunt, wasn't it? Yeah.
But that was funny because
Yeah.
Tom Baker was
Publicity
managed.
stunts are
Well-
fucking awful.
Well, he was meant to show up, Tom Baker, but John Nathan Turner, being the clever man he is, he brought the waxwork of Tom Baker to the photo shoot just in case he didn't turn up, and he didn't turn up, and it looks awful on a photo. But when
Yeah.
you're up real life looking at it, apparently it's very good on a photo. You completely see, and they were chucking him about and all this kind of stuff. On him.
making fun of him.
Yeah,
Liz Lady was a bit upset.
yeah, she got.
Oh, was she really?
Yeah.
Well, Dave and Tom Baker are very close, aren't they?
Yeah.
I'll tell you one person who holds it together at each scene is the master. They're really good because he's on one point he's talking to others, and then all of a sudden he's
Yeah.
moving away. He's bringing them in, and he seems to be the connection with the story as that each one
Now,
has their own little field.
What is the logic behind them picking him to do that?
Because he's
Out of
cunning.
all the fucking people
know.
in the world,
Yeah.
It's sort of like pick the
Is-
evilest person, say, "I'm here to rescue you." Fuck off.
is it the Lord President's idea to pick him just for
And then
the
he's-
fact that he will
yeah.
betray them?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
he will inevitably betray them, and that must be known.
I'm just thinking, one, as John says, it is probably the Lord President. Bruce has decided he's going to pick this guy, and he's also going to become the fall guy. But the council probably also picked him because they've already sent 2 people from their own high council, and they don't want to send anybody else. He's disposable.
Right.
If anything happens,
But he's also
they can-
super manipulative.
They
and,
could have sent
uh,
Leela
But he's
as
also
well.
quite
evil
intelligent.
genius.
he could also help solve problems.
Could have sent Leela, but again,
Yes.
probably.
I
I
tell you,
think
there's
she got offered, but didn't want to do it. So
Oh, really? Okay.
I think
She was filming Bergerac at the time.
Oh yeah. Sorry, that took me down a
Sorry,
memory
John.
lane. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. There was a scene where the master's running like fuck amongst the moors, getting shot at by laser blokes, and I just found it so funny. He was running like he was proper sprinting.
oh well, he's literally shitting himself.
Yeah.
He's so scared. He's a right fan. He is Anthony Ainley. Like he's Peter Davison was saying it was hilarious. Anything like that, he just was genuinely in fear and didn't have a clue what to do. So that's probably why he's just running away in genuine fear, John.
He was quite a quiet man, wasn't he, on team? I was like Roger Delgado.
Yeah,
One of
he
the
was,
two
yeah, yeah.
Really quiet and kept away from everyone. I have my life being told to get close to the microphone, so I've just got it inbuilt to do that now.
It's close and close, Craig.
Yeah.
I really hate
You
you.
nearly swallowed it, Craig.
Not the first time.
Like one of Craig's own videos.
It was cleverly written to like brought in K9. He didn't have to do that, but he has some way. Right, we need to have him bring him in.
I
right at the
like
beginning.
Beware of the Dog written in canine fonts.
Yeah,
was
that
nice.
was great. It was really good.
There's loads of little
Yeah.
touches like that that are brilliant. Because it was Terrence Dicks that made them get K9 in. They didn't want him in because they hated K9. But he said no. Loads of kids love him, so he's coming
Yeah,
back.
I loved canine. at
Yeah,
that
I
age.
did too. I
Yeah.
still do.
I
Yeah.
quite like the
I
house
still
that she
want
lives
one.
in.
Apathetic
Oh, yeah.
now.
Yeah.
That's pre-Bannerman Road. That house is, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's like a
Oh, yeah.
semi-detached, whereas
Yeah.
pre-Bannerman, it's a massive house.
yeah.
Bannerman Road.
Yeah, she earned some money somehow.
Well, obviously, a private investigating worked off, so I'll just move slightly further away. Her investigating worked off when she was doing that private stuff and the journalism in school reunion.
Yeah.
Do we have a one small round? Anyone got anything else to say? Start with Suki. You've always got a bag of shit to say.
You know, something,
Bag of shit.
I did have a load of shit to say. But soon as I don't make any notes, and the last time I watched this was about 3 weeks ago when we were originally going to plan to record this. I haven't got anything to hand, so no, carry on.
Well, that's what happens when you flirt with capitalism, Suki.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
you're one of them.
Now he's back, the
He
working
wanted,
man.
he wanted to be a man, but he realised he wasn't the man.
I've never been the man. Never been the man.
Sorry,
Bob, what do
darling.
you say?
No, well, my 2 words would be I have no idea actually. Just childhood joy. There's my 2 words. Sucky didn't get his
that's
2 words, did he?
Oh, there, give
Oh,
me 2
shit.
words in.
Oh, Chucky, give us your 2 words then.
I'll come back to me because I've got to think
All
about
right,
it.
go on then. Craig.
I just wanted to talk about one thing I loved about it, which I think is classic Doctor Who, really, is when Peter Davison works out the lock via the heart by looking at the picture, and then he plays it, and it's just so cheesy because obviously he's not playing it. You've got this music.
Oh,
But
they
I like the
changed that.
fact-
They change it on the special edition that as well, so it looks like he's playing it, and it's a real proper harp as well.
But I do like
wow.
that the concept of that was
Yeah,
good.
it's cool.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
It's right under his nose, isn't it? So I loved it. And the music note and the door slides open, and then there he is. And suddenly, Barusa's all in black. He does this quick costume change, like the Master does in.
We have watched it. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I was just telling you what I liked about it.
Yeah. YouTube, I am picking on Craig all of today. That's my
Oh,
job.
it's like- I don't know why you're picking on me. I'm such a sweet boy.
There's a bit in that though when he walks through the door and he doesn't even move, and he turns the opposite way as if you would when you've heard a noise come from that way. which is a bit
Actors
strange.
in
Actors,
front of
yeah.
stage. That's why they
So
changed
look
it.
Peter
at me,
Moffat, the
camera.
director.
Mm.
Oh, right. John, what's yours?
What's my what?
Oh, Craig didn't
Oh.
do your 2 words.
Yeah, what's your 2 words, Craig?
Pure nostalgia.
Yeah.
All right.
And John.
My 2 words would be Sarah Jane's calves.
Oh yes.
You need him to get up that hill, John.
Back to Suggy.
What about? Hang on, sorry, I'm a
Yeah.
bit confused. What about a calves, John?
Stunning.
Shapely.
Are they good? Okay, I just
No,
wondered what it
shapely
was.
calves.
Okay.
She's got shapely calves. I'm not going to make
Just
them
like
up.
just like Jack Grealish's.
Yeah, just like sculpted.
I even I know this sounds a bit sad, but when I was younger, I remember trying to pause it when she climbed over the thing. So there was a bit of an upskirt.
What do you
shot.
mean when you were young? I did it watching it
Yeah, I
fucking
did
a
it.
month
I
ago.
did it. I did it as well. Couldn't see. I was like that.
I only didn't mention it because I didn't want to look like a perv.
James doesn't have that worry, does he? He always.
He's from Salford. He doesn't have a reputation to lose.
So keep part of your 2 words yet?
Yeah, just nostalgic joy.
Oh, wicked. Well, it has one of my favorite quotes of all, the bit where Tegan says, "You mean you deliberately choosing to go on a run
Oh,
from
yes.
your own people?"
Yeah, at the
and
end,
get
yes.
rectified?"
Yeah, why have we not talked
Why
about
not?
that?
After all, that's how it started. And I
Yeah,
thought that's
that is
nice to
awesome.
finish off
Clever.
if none of you had mentioned it.
Yeah.
So my 2 words is young fun. Because I was young at the
Wow.
time and it was fun.
That
That
sounds a bit.
sound-
It sounds
yeah.
so dodgy.
That's Cliff, young fun sheps.
But loved it, and I hope everybody watches it. If they're not
My
seen
two,
it
my,
before.
my 2 words are sexy children. How's that?
I better sign off now. That's around the console.
I don't know if we're going to call this a bonus or not because we were meant to do Time Lash, but Time Lash will be next. Now the Blu-ray is out and we've watched it,
Yes.
or we'll be watching it. So that's
Yeah.
why we put this 5 Doctors in, because John's never seen it and Cliff wanted to do it, and I'm pleased that they have. So Time Lash next. Sorry
Time
to
Lash
interrupt,
next.
Cliff. You're
No.
hosting.
Yeah, Time Lash next. Time Lash next, everybody. That's our next one. And until
Yeah.
next time, goodbye from us.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh yeah, stop recording.
Oh, it was